Hey guys, it's Awesome here and welcome back to a new video. So today I'll be testing Project Cars 2 on the GTX 1050Ti paired with a Core i5-9400 and 16 gigs of RAM. And I use DX11 along with the Nvidia GameReady 451.67 drivers. So Project Cars 2, I'll show you three resolutions 1080p, 1440p and 900p. And for each tested preset, MSA and textures were set to high. You will find the timestamps in the video description below. So moving on to 1080p with the Ultra preset, here we see an average of 44 frames per second with lows close to 36 frames per second. Next were high settings, which was enough for 58 frames per second on average with 1% lows close to 45 frames per second. Medium settings up next, and this was the best preset to maintain constant 60 frames per second as we had an average of 68 frames per second with minimums being over 55 fps. At last for low settings, here we had an average of 74 frames per second with 1% lows just under 60 fps. Next I'll switch over to 900p. So with the Ultra preset, we find an average of 50 fps with minimums of 40 fps. For high settings, here we see a large bump in performance as the average frame rate was very close to 65 frames per second with lows and minimums over 50 fps. Medium settings was up next. Here the performance was pretty similar to high settings as we did not see much gain, as we had an average of 70 fps with a consistent lows above 60 fps. At last for low settings, here the average frame rate jumps to 95 frames per second with very consistent lows close to 70 fps. For targeting 60 fps on 900p, high or medium settings is the way to go. At last I'll switch my resolution to 1440p. Here I just tested two presets, low and medium. So with the medium preset on 1440p, here we see an average of 41 frames per second with lows just over 30 fps. And even with low settings on 1440p, the performance did not change much as we had an average of 43 frames per second on average with lows over 30 fps. And textures don't use more than 4 gigs of VRAM even on 1440p, so just use high textures. So yeah guys, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Drop a like if you do. Don't forget to subscribe as it really helps me out. And as always, suggestions and comments are welcome, and I'll see you next time.